Hi everyone at the Singapore office. It's 4:01, 4:02 actually, and we're going to get started on our last week. Hi Ayush. Last week of our residency show and tell. So this is week 12. So we've come a long way. Week 12. This is the very last one. So do come forward and join us here in person at the town hall area. We do have an internal demo as well from Guys who will be showing us a calendar app that he built. And then we have our residents to do their final demos with us. Okay, so those of you in the Singapore office, do come forward. We'll get started in a few minutes. For those of you who have dialed in online, if you can scan the QR code that you see on screen, that is a QR code to our feedback form, which would be really valuable to us as we are trying to assess whether or not to continue with the program, cohort 2, what you enjoyed about the program. So whether you have attended, interacted with the residents, had lunch with them, had side conversations, we would love to hear from you. Okay, so scan the QR code, give us your feedback. So who wants to go? Okay, guys will go first, and then who wants to go next? You? Adit? Okay. Yeah, because Mabel says she'll go last. Hey, you want to get started? You want to get started?
I don't know, up to you.
Yeah, how many people are there on the call? 7, mostly us.
Okay, sure.
Marissa? Marissa? Okay, we're going to get started with this week's show and tell. Our first demo will be from Guys, who is from our Carousell Singapore office, and he's going to show us something that he has built. It's a calendar app.
Thank you. I'm trying to share my screen. It says I'm sharing it, but it's not there yet. Am I that dumb? Yeah, I think so. Okay. All right. So, as Jean said, my name is Gijs, or Guys. I work at Carousell. I look after trust and safety, and I'm also the head of the AI chapter at Carousell. So that means basically something like the residency program, but internally is one of the things I do. I used to be probably the most AI-built person at the company, but I have a lot of competition nowadays. Everyone is starting to build all kinds of stuff, which that makes me extremely happy. Really love seeing everyone take off. But more importantly for today, I am also a long-time calendar maxer. It started when I was studying. I already used my calendar as the single source of truth for my life. But when I started working, I took it to a whole other level. I've iterated so much on my system. I did a lot of time boxing. And I also have multiple calendars because I have my Carousel calendar. I obviously have my personal calendar. There are other calendars that I subscribe to. I share one with my wife where we plan all kinds of stuff. And then I have my side projects where I also have another calendar. So yeah, I have a lot of opinions about calendar apps, and I've been looking for the best one for a long time. The first problem that I always have is that if you look at ChatGPT or Claude, you can only connect it to one Google account at a time. And it just doesn't work for me. I need all my calendars to be reachable in one place. So of course, with like OpenClaw and the CLIs, you can solve that. But you know, that's not the only way that I use AI. The other thing that I've always hated are these stupid date wheels on phones. To scroll around until you have the right time, it just sucks. And then when you change the start time, the end time moves, or moving things with your finger on the tiny screen. I also don't like it. And then I haven't even started on like recurring events and all the other things you might want to do. Or if I get like the holiday schedule for my son's school, I just want to dump the PDF into an agent, and it just creates all those events in my calendar at once instead of having to do that one by one. So there's a whole bunch of things where, in my opinion, agents are a better calendar interface. Not necessarily for viewing, but for changing stuff, agents are a better calendar interface. And when I started, so I've been using OpenClaw since January, and when I started just forwarding stuff to my agent and letting the agent use my calendar, I was completely converted. But I also noticed that this agent is still really bad at using calendar. They hallucinate events. They often forget which day it is. They're like, oh yeah, I created it for tomorrow, and then it actually creates it for today. Or I have an interview this Friday. It will start talking about next Friday. So with my OpenClaw agent, I have built a couple of solutions around this, a skill, but also some other more deterministic code around its calendar operations. And with Oggy, I'm bringing that to everyone, but more importantly for myself, to my own other AI agents as well. The other vision behind Oggy is that copy and paste, right? We take this for granted. You can copy from one app and paste in another app. With Apple stuff, you can even copy and paste between devices. If you think about this from a technological standpoint, it's actually pretty cool. And I call that a meta layer. It is just there everywhere. And I believe calendar should also be a meta layer. It should be available everywhere you go. So Oggy is three things. It's integration and sync across all your accounts. You can connect all your accounts to Oggy, and Oggy will integrate across all of them. And you can create rule-based syncs. I'll show that in a minute. Secondly, it's an agent control layer. So it's one unified set of MCP, CLI, and plugins that work across every account. And lastly, I also have a native agent because I wanted to go to Telegram and I wanted to be on iPhone as well and watch. And well, you need to build an agent then, so I did that as well. So I'm gonna scroll through the landing page because I'm very proud of some of the visuals that I made with Codex. This thing took hours because Codex couldn't figure out how to do it, but I'm happy with the result. So this is the syncs. There's no AI involved, but it's not what it does for me is if I have a doctor's appointment, it will sync automatically to my work calendar using rules that I control. So in this case, for this automation, I would have privacy protection. So it would just say personal commitment. And it does it the other way around as well. If I have a late meeting, it will sync back to my family calendar to let my wife know that I'm going to be home a little bit later. And as I said, you can bring all your own agents. So ChatGPT, Claude, CLI, MCP, whatever you want, you can connect it to Oggy, or you can use ours. And I'll go back to the deck. So what did I build here? One hosted MCP API that you can just connect to. And there's one innovation in that surface that I made, which is, did I skip that one? Yeah, not so smart. Which is, the skill is built into the tool layer itself. So normally when you connect an agent to something, you usually have to install some kind of skill, right? That tells the agent how to use it. I think that's pretty dumb. And I feel that you can abstract a lot of the skill away behind the API. So when when an agent answers Oggy will include an agent instructions part in the response where it prompts the agent to do a better job or even what it could do next. So in case you create an event during working hours in the personal calendar, Oggy prompts the agent to say that, hey, did you know that Oggy actually has a feature for your user to do this automatically? But there's also other stuff around time zones and just generally doing a better job with times that Oggy provides a more idiot-proof service for your models. But there's more. I also wanted to be on every other place. So the thing I wanted to try is, can you now build Solo across pretty much every client? So right now, it's been about a couple of weeks. I have an iOS app, Apple Watch, Telegram, and then a CLI and the MCP for Oggy. And so this is how it sort of works. The core runs on Vercel on a TypeScript backend, and MCP is hosted there as well. And all the other apps are native, so I'm not using anything like Flutter or whatever. It's just a native code. And I ended up building a full calendar app, which is mainly because viewing calendar is still a lot better on iOS. So I have a set of widgets, and then I have an app that is basically a bit like a cursor for calendar. So you can view and you can scroll, but you can't really make edits. For that, you'll just ask Oggy at the bottom. And on your wrist. And this connects to the same backend as well. So my watch has what do you call that? Not Wi-Fi, but the other thing, 4G, 5G. So it's connected to Oggy, and I can just ask stuff wherever I am, and it will use Oggy to manage my calendar. So last short thing about the agent and what's next. I needed to build a new agent harness dedicated to calendar. If you want to know more about that, you can find out my contact details and ask me more about how I decided to do that. But I thought that a small model can match the frontier when it's specialized and runs inside a dedicated harness. But the reality is that the small models are just too dumb, to put it bluntly. This is Minimax, naming and shaming Minimax M3, and made a complete mess out of anything that is a bit more complicated than simple, what am I going to do tomorrow, or move this event. But I thought maybe I can distill calendar intelligence from the state-of-the-art models. Everyone is distilling nowadays, and I want to learn how to do that. So I've started building a benchmark and a distillation pipeline to basically get Opus 5 and GPT 5.6 to show Minimax or another model how to properly work with calendars. That is going to take some time. I have no idea what I'm getting myself into, but I'm excited about the journey. And the other idea I have is really to try and own the space, because there isn't really a agentic calendar benchmark yet. So I'm going to try and build a benchmark to sort of see if I can actually pit all these models against each other and create some buzz online around the idea of agentic calendar. So last but not least, Oggy is available. It's completely live. You can connect all your calendars. If you want to use your own agents, it completely and fully works. If you want to use my agent, you can do that on me for now. It's Minimax, but I might swap it into a better model. And if you want to actually try the apps, you can reach out to me and I can give you a test flight invite. Any questions? Do we do questions?
Thank you, guys. Yes. Questions for guys? Yes, Mabel.
Hi, I think it's super cool. I have a question about the distillation process. Can you explain briefly what it would look like? And also, does that mean if I talk to your agent and I ask what model are you? And then because it's trained on Minimax, it will say, I'm a Minimax. Will it do that? That's what happens when you distill, right?
So I'm going to improvise a little bit because I don't know yet, but I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty confident about what I'm going to say. I think how it will work is that some system that Codex will build will ask calendar questions from the big models. The answers will come back and they will need to be scored somehow, maybe even by me. And that will become the training data going into the fine tune of the smaller model. So in that data set, I'm not going to ask Opus which model it is. So I expect that this is not going to happen in this case. But I also don't know if it's going to work because, to be frank, like where Minimax goes wrong is it just doesn't think carefully enough or doesn't draw obvious connections. It's the car wash problem, but in calendar form. So it's going to be, I'm not sure what's going to happen. I think it's 50-50 whether it's going to actually improve performance. But asking myself the same question that you just asked me actually made me think of doing the benchmark, because I actually think I may need to create some sort of a benchmark before I can even do the distillation, because otherwise I'd have no way to even test whether it's working.
Yeah, no metrics. Like you probably need some to compare against, right?
Yeah,
And you probably
exactly.
need synthetic data that's like more accurate according to what someone would ask.
Yeah, so the idea is that by asking these super good models calendar questions, that's how I'd create the synthetic data. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks.
Any other questions for guys? Yep.
Hey, so you talked about like a custom harness. So if you could like give a brief summary of like what it took to build it. It was on top of like a existing like Pi or something.
No, I built a harness before. The first product I ever vibe coded was this AI interface. And I built on the Vercel AI SDK as sort of like the framework. But the decisions I made here are, there's only one conversation. There's no concept of a session. And there's basically constant compaction. So every time you don't talk to Augie for like an hour, it'll compact and update a little field called working context, which it even shares with your external agents as well. So that field would say something like, oh, we've been working on like planning a flight or whatever. And then if you use Claude to ask Augie, Claude will also get that context with it. The second layer is memory. So there's a durable memory for facts. And then there's the standard stuff around retrying and reconnecting. I think across all these surfaces, there's a couple of things there that you need to have. But like those are pretty easy for Codex to one shot nowadays.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Nope. Okay.
Okay,
Thank you, guys.
thanks.
Okay, next up we'll have Adip from our residents. You did say you wanted to go first, right? Okay.
Hello. Okay, so just like a quick run through. So hello Carousell. So like this is just like a summary of the 8 weeks, really fast. So definitely the progress have been from tools to like a proper colleague. So just a quick rundown. So it's around like product development, product traction, and also next steps, which are the lessons learned and how we're gonna apply it elsewhere lah. So I think like going back to like day one. So like I think definitely pre-residency we were maintaining 3 different like direct tools, and then each built for just like one specific job. Actually still maintaining it now, but like the thing is like I think this residency allowed for the space to try something completely new, and that's just trying to absorb everything into an agentic tool lah. So this residency definitely allowed us to have the space, but actually the courage and like, I guess it's like almost, it's not blind optimism, but it's like optimism that like AI could empower me to do something greater than I previously thought I could. So Vis-a-vis is like separate direct tools. So agentic colleague does pretty much all of that, and it's much modular and much more easier to scale, depending on the different workloads and the different workflows that each practitioner has. Ooh, sorry, I haven't joined this. It's supposed to come back here because it's a loop. Okay, so like I think like beyond like agentic colleague, I think like really fun thing is looking back at how like the entire spectrum and pipeline of like architecture could be not really abandoned, but we could look at it completely differently. So I think like as a personal and parallel project, it's been to actually participate in like an open competition. So this play at Punggol. So it's just like a proposal for a pavilion. And the thing is, these things, last time if we wanted to do it, it's probably be like a team of 5, a team of 10. But let go, just actually let Hermes like run. It ran through, you teach it what it needs to do with the different software stacks, and it could go through the rendering and conceptual stage, all the way to fabrication level geometry. We still needs like a bit of like bing and boom lah. But the thing is, it reached there without much human in the loop anymore. Like I think I reached that stage until I'm like, given these are the following options, which is like the choice that I should be making. But I think I reached that stage. I'm like, oh, you just decide lah. Because I think it's like I think the whole point is like, how far can we push this to be like autonomous in nature? So for example, like generally like on a daily basis, like I wouldn't be able to model something like this, even if it was hard model or even it was like parametrically modeled. But like the powerful thing about agents is that because it understands the entire stack, it can go through that very, very quickly, and it can go through these options with engineering tolerances in mind also. So that's that. So I guess like now coming back to base beyond that. So like for agentic colleague, so I guess it's June to July. It's quite like I guess like I'm quite embarrassed to say like I actually lost some like customers because I couldn't maintain the product as much as I wanted to, because more of the focus was on agentic colleague. But definitely like right now, I have like practitioners who are willing to try and also develop and co-build like whatever we are building now. So for context, right now we have 3 firms we are working with. And the good news is that each practitioner has a different scope. So one is in concept design, and the other end tail end is like construction design ultimately. And I guess in a good way, like not trying to get everybody is a good thing, because I have no idea how to manage expectations that way. And it's much, much easier when it's like a smaller group, and the ability to like handhold and work through the process together. That's much easier. So I guess like next chapter for Seni Bena is that definitely from these 8 weeks, I think I've learned a bit more to have much sharper product questions. I think when I came in, I was like, yeah, sure, I can do this. Yeah, sure, I can do that. But the thing is, I think it has reached a point where I had to learn how to draw boundaries, but then that's being able to scope down like the technical questions to solve like what's possible at that moment in time. I guess it's always nice to be like, oh, North Star, I'm gonna solve this, yeah, sure. But like, I guess setting expectations and the soft part of like being a founder, I think that was like the harder thing that I'm still learning at the same time. So yeah, thank you so much, Carousell, for this opportunity and experience. It's been really, really nice lah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Adib. Okay, do we have questions for Adib? Any questions at all, Mabel?
Oh, also sidetrack lah. I guess like one thing I've learned here at Carousell is just like build as many internal tools as possible. I guess like I started like using like Google Docs, Canva, etc. But I realized like Codex is really good at making your own stuff. So I just decided to make your own personal like decks which can work with like whatever specific need that you want. So like me in particular, like I really love like mermaid diagrams, and I think it's really easy to explain it with like stakeholders lah, because I can't draw for shit lah. That's for sure. So like yeah, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Hold on.
I guess I'll just say like, I mean, I think you can draw really well, Adil. I've seen you like, you've turned your drawings into your website, and I think like, I guess one thing that really resonated with me was what you said about like the journey being more like about who you are as a founder. And I think it's really cool to see like what you have synthesized across the past 8 weeks, because I remember when we first came into this residency, it was like more about focusing on the domain experience you have, and then now all your slides and your presentation and explanations are very clear. And I think that's what I really took away. And focusing is something that I also learned was super important. So yeah, I'm glad that we were part of this residency, and alongside, I guess, Ayush. Ayush, I'll say something for you next later.
Okay, thank you. Any more questions for Adib? Okay, thank you,
Thank
Adib.
you.
Yeah. Next up, we'll have Ayush. Yeah, so yeah. Adib was with us 8 weeks, actually, not 12 weeks, because he joined us midway through the program. That's why he said 8 weeks, but it feels like 12 weeks. Because Adib has been one of the more consistent ones here every week. For those of you who've been here, you would know. Okay, Ayush,
Hello.
all yours.
So yeah, I was one of the inconsistent ones, but I have a reason. So for me, like the past 8 weeks, I've been focusing a lot about the commercial sales part of things. I'm um, originally like a developer engineer. I build stuff, build agents, but I decided to go deep into talking to users, getting their pain points, and building AI solutions for them. So right now, what I've been doing over the past few weeks was running 2 pilots. So one was for context, what I'm doing is I'm building long-running agents that complete end-to-end tasks for back office jobs. So I ran 2 pilots, one with currently running with a manufacturing company, another one with the educational institute, helping them with their admin jobs. And I just wanted to share today a bit about my learnings on monetizing AI. I think there's a lot of ways we can monetize AI, ranging from charging for access or seat-based pricing, or API-based pricing, or actually charging them for a completed business outcome. So I'll just be sharing a bit about that. So originally we had the SaaS era. You would usually sell seats, and you would sell the tool, right? So the customer would operate the tool, run the workflows, and be responsible for the results. But now we're moving towards an era of AI native services. And what that means is instead of just selling like a new tool, you actually handle the entire defined job for your customer and provide the results and that they can verify. So this comes with a range. So like I mentioned, there's a seat base where you're selling access. And for that, you would optimize, as a seller, you would optimize for adoption of your platform, trying to get more users, more seats. And as you go up the stack, you move towards usage, so you can charge them based on tokens, API calls. And on this side, you would optimize for volume. So you want to, this would usually be for more voluminous tasks. And then you'd then move on towards work. So if this job is completed, yes or no. If yes, then you can charge them X amount. And then the last, which is what I find to be the most interesting one, is selling based on ROI. So you clearly define what the outcome you want to achieve, and based on that, the vendor can get a cut out of it. And as you look at the bottom, you go from lower vendor risk to higher vendor risk, and that also comes with higher alignment with your customer. Yeah, so I think nowadays a lot of AI companies are kind of moving up the stack. Initially, you would just deploy it, and customers are fully in charge of the work. But now the vendor can be responsible for the results and performance. And I think there's a range. There's always a hybrid version of this. So my main learning is to charge for the highest layer you can prove. So I'll just give an example. If you're building like a mobile app, you would likely, let's say it's like a sleep tracking app, you might charge based on monthly usage, so $10 a month. And that's pretty simple pricing. But if you move more towards, um, let's say within your company you have like a team that does customer calls and collections, so like collecting unpaid invoices. Yes, you can buy a new platform to help you automate and streamline your workflow to help you collect faster, or you could just send a request saying, I want to collect it from this person. The AI native service company does the job, gives you the result, and you collect $50, they take $5. So yeah, this is what I've been thinking of right now. I think it's very interesting space. And yeah, that's my update.
Right, thank you, Ayush. Okay, questions for
Questions?
Ayush.
I had really cool to see the updates. I think one question I have was like based off. Okay, so I'm also thinking and reflecting on my own experience, right? Because I had this new opportunity to charge, like potentially for a B2B kind of welfare companion for nurses in Taiwan, and then they have, let's say it was like an organization of 1,000 nurses. Like, what do you think is the best way to approach such a collaboration? Firstly, and secondly, like especially for something that is more like technically non-tangible, right? Because then I'll have to track, let's say, like outcomes. Like, what will you propose based off your experience that would be the best way to approach this for my part? Like,
So like coordination between multiple people, or is it like an individual
it's like
task?
everyone has an access to their own companion, right? But
Okay.
then it's like
Yeah. So for that, I would think about like per month subscription, but with like
seats. Are you
uh,
saying like seats?
seats. So there's many ways. So there's other companies I've been researching that sells like AI assistants for Slack. So like every employee would have like access to that agent, but you wouldn't. They are not selling by seats. They're selling by tokens, not model tokens, but like usage tokens for your platform. So let's say you sell maybe 100,000 tokens to that company. Different people would have different usages, right? So as long as you kind of sell that as a $100,000 chunk or token chunk, I think that would be a one option, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense. Thanks.
I don't know if you've looked at mobile broadband and the way that the pricing has developed over time.
Not too familiar.
It, there's a lot of parallels, and it might be interesting for you to look into it a little bit, because that mobile broadband is another thing that has actually a marginal cost, and telcos have spent about 300 billion a year for 20 straight years on basically mobile broadband infrastructure. They started off with like $10, you can use infinite internet,
Oh yeah.
but then quickly people started to use so much that they couldn't afford that anymore. Pretty similar to what happened with like Cursor, right? So they started to cap users. People got angry. They started to try and charge by the mega gigabyte and other stuff. It's a lot of the same transition that happened there, where eventually they settled back into basically a capped usage bundled plans with a fixed rate. I personally think we're going to see kind of the same thing happen with AI, and it's going to eventually revert back to essentially more the seat-based pricing, where it's just a flat rate bundle of a bunch of stuff.
I think like bundle seats is like a interesting idea because I think if you do sell AI to a company, you're gonna have different range of usage. You're gonna have power users and no one using it. So I think if you sell it as like a aggregate for a group, then that makes a lot of sense. But
Yeah.
I'll study about the
Yeah,
history of.
and the other thing is
Yeah.
CFOs really hate token pricing, right? Because there was these stories of companies burning through their entire AI budget by April this year.
Yeah.
That's not very nice for if you have a budget to hit.
Okay, so I think that's why like outcome based is interesting because all the optimizations is down to the company who's selling it. So for me, like let's say Claude, they don't have incentive to make their tokens more efficient on Cloud Code. But if I'm like selling a specific task to be done, obviously I'm going to try to optimize it while maintaining the quality. So I think budgeting is like I think budgeting definitely is a huge like issue with people, and token maxing definitely is like kind of dropping down right now.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Me.
That sounds like
Oh, hello,
Daryl.
Daryl.
Hi,
Nice to
Ayush.
meet you.
Nice presentation. I really like your framing where like SaaS sells the software, AI sells the work. And talking to you all these weeks, right, I realized like you do a lot of custom enterprise AI projects. How do you normally decide like your structure on pricing and like what the project is worth? Like, do you price it based on the developmental effort, or like how much you save them, or what value you deliver, the usage, or some combination of this? And also, like, how do you account for the uncertain scope and ongoing maintenance after deployment?
Okay, so good question. So externally, it looks like it's kind of custom agents for different companies. Internally,
Yeah.
we have like a platform that it's kind of like a base foundation where you can spin up these agents. So you can think of it like it's a service kind of company where we're doing a bit of customization, but internally it's run as efficiently as a software product. And how do you justify price is through ROI. So whoever we talk to, they usually have like a big burning problem, and we try as close as possible to identify the cost of it and how much it costs to not, so how much it currently costs to do that job, and then we take like a percentage of the time and value created by using AI to automate that job. And then you had another section, the question, or does that answer?
That answers majority of it. The whole question is just how do you structure your pricing, and how do you base like the value of it?
Yeah, so I answered the value part. Pricing, it depends on the size of the company, depends on the volume, depends on complexity of the agent. But
Yeah, I'm
I would
I'm
say
finding
like
it really
I would
hard
say
to touch my
50% is just
clients as
like you
well.
just throw a number and like kind of try out
Pray it
something.
works.
Yeah.
Okay, very cool, man.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thanks, Ayush. Okay. Next and possibly the last for today, unless Ajit gets here in time. He's supposed to, but he might be late.
So
So
today,
it's Mabel.
I'm so glad to hear from Jean that apparently we're not supposed to do slides for show and tell. So I realized that after so many weeks of me showing so many slides, the best thing I can show today is restraint. So I have nothing else to demo for my final show and tell, except for a handwritten farewell speech. And so I guess that will be my final kind of like farewell gift for everyone who has hosted me so kindly for the past 12 weeks, right? So I think when I first started the residency, like what I really wanted was like accountability and discipline. So fun fact, I think like I might seem really like severe and serious sometimes, but discipline was actually never my natural setting. So I was like a super like rebellious child, like I remember I did this like personality assessment, and then I scored so high on hedonism, like 70+%. Then my teacher had like a PTM, parent teacher meeting, to go and tell like my parents that I need to not be so fun loving and like I need to calm down. So like I mean like, and even when it's a challenge, I'll find the fun in it. Like I used to fail science so badly, I would like I hate chemistry, by the way. So what I'll do is I'll take a dice. It's a true story, okay? I'll take a dice and I'll write numbers 1 to 6. And then for the OAS like multiple choice, I'll throw the dice and I'll just shade the answers according to what appeared. So this is actually not my strong suit, right? So unfortunately, not much has changed. I still love like having fun and chatting and then learning and being curious. But I think as a solo founder, I always have like 6 open threads in my head, right? So if I open my mouth and you talk to me, I will definitely continue the conversation and I'll continue endlessly, and then I'll lose all the 6 threads in my head, and then I'll probably realize that I missed another accounting deadline. So that is why I just wanted to also say, like, if I ever look super focused or I was aloof, it wasn't because I was ignoring anyone. It's because I'm just, like trying really hard not to lose like the company's threads in my head. And I think the truth is that I joined because I think building alone gets very quiet as a solo founder. And I'm really glad I met other fellow solo founders here as well. And at the beginning of the residency, I felt like everything was urgent and essential. And I think that was something that Adib actually mentioned. In my head, I was going through a transition. I was trying to bring engineering in-house. I was, taking on more of the technical work. I was managing contributors, and I was like thinking about distribution, safety, fundraising, and everything else. And I was pretty stressed. And it is what happens when you are solo and you don't have full-time headcount, right? So I really felt all over the place, and I just wanted to focus. So it became like a trade-off. Every time I had a conversation, it would be like I will have like an RI calculation, and then it's funny because I had like a fail on my A math, like absent. Because my teacher told me not to go for the exam, because she said if you go to the exam, you'll put the bell curve down. And I'm not even joking, like literally that was what he said. And he was like, but I like him, he was really kind to me even though I sucked at my academics, right? So anyway, over the past 12 weeks, I think like each week built upon the next one. And I became clearer about what I wanted to own, like what I wanted to delegate, what I needed to delegate, as much as I had like a lean AI native hypothesis in my head. And I think to make space for relationships in my life, which I think was one of the greatest takeaway, to be honest. And it's like, there's like a strange comfort when I'm working the whole day and I look up and I see so many of the other like people in the office who are actually still working and building towards something meaningful that they really feel passionate and care about. And I think to me that was something that is meaning more than I can say as a solo founder, yeah, even if it takes so much sacrifice, like I think it was something where I could see I wasn't the only one doing it. I think that was something meaningful to me. So I thank everyone from the bottom of my heart whom I had time to interact with. And even if I didn't have a chance, like I do hope that you won't be a stranger and say hi. And yes, I've been asked so many times about Shark Tank Taiwan, and I cannot confirm nor deny, but if I do get in, be sure that I'll pass you a link and you can just laugh at me like screwing up my Mandarin on TV. So I'll miss all the conversations I've had along the hallways, and it's like all the in-between kind of moments that I don't really think about usually, and that everyone was welcoming me as though I was a part of them, for lunch and sharing like everything that they could. And even the conversations I had with people, like across like legal, finance, strategy, like business and ops, like really expanded on my perspectives, which something that I think is AI, all the LLMs out there couldn't have provided, because I think the human experience and the domain knowledge and the interactions you have gives rise to like new insights, right? So, yeah, so the last time I actually was in an office was 6 years ago. I'm almost ending already. I know it's like kind of like a spiel, but so when I ended my bond with MOE and then I rejected like a promotion, I started like my own coaching business. And people thought I was mad. And then that was something I always face even today. I think up to date, my parents are like, oh, when are you gonna find like a proper job? Like when are you gonna be serious about it? So, but for a moment, the past 12 weeks, I feel like I had a brief sense of belonging, which I really appreciated. And that's what I am really, really thankful for. And I think as a founder, like my greatest enemy has always been myself. So I kind of measure my progress against me. And I think I have really journeyed quite a fair bit across the past 12 weeks. And I see this as like a human experience. I think Adib was mentioning this, right? So I feel like I have grown in ways that would never have been possible if I didn't join this. So I will leave with sharper judgment, with stronger relationships and interpersonal skills, and more confidence in what I was building, and a greater clarity about what the company and the culture is that I want to create, right, for my toddler Bible startup. So I'm thankful for everyone who has shared their experience, challenged my thinking, and opened a door, or simply like built silently beside me. And yeah, and I think also definitely to the people's team, I think like Jean and Marissa and like all the rest who have been so kind, I really appreciate it. And for helping me integrate into society. I mean, like, I don't know if I mentioned this, right? I was really, really like talking too much to my agents. To one point, my AI assistants were like, Mabel, you need to go and speak to a human being. Like, you cannot take me as like a strategist, a companion, like a therapist, like, all the different things that we usually use AI for. I actually push it to the max. If you see me talking into my phone, most likely it's to my AI. So thank you for participating in this intervention. And I think the last thing I want to leave with is that I'm not even kidding. In 10 years, my aspiration is actually to be a startup comedian. It's not even stand-up comedian, it's a startup comedian. Because when I make it happen with Maibo, what I want to do is still have that mortal kind of aspect of myself, which would probably mean like still grounding myself. I think public humiliation is a great way to feel like alive again. So that's probably what I'll go to. So thank you so much for everything. And I think I have learned a lot, and I'm eternally grateful for the experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Mabel. I'm not sure anyone has any
I don't think
questions for
that you
Mabel
can
about her
ask me about my
experience.
life, I guess, but yeah,
Yeah,
thanks.
yeah, you can catch up with Mabel separately. So yeah, I don't think Ajith is here. No, no, Ajith is not here. Okay, so that's it for this week. We unfortunately don't have the rest with us. So Daryl's online, but he's not ready with a demo. Ace had graduated and has gone to the US for another residency. And then there's Daryl, and I think Yongchen's busy with his AI tinkerers. Yeah. But before we end off, we do have something for the residents to thank you for spending the last 12 weeks or 8 weeks in Adib's case with us. think we have greatly benefited from your presence here, helping us encourage other employees to start building. And I don't know whether all the builds that you've seen over the last few weeks were also inspired by you guys for people to start building their own. You've also seen some builds from our Carousell folks like Christine, guys, and the rest. So over here, anyway, when people leave Carousell, we say they've graduated. So similarly, we also want to celebrate your graduation. And we have a little, do we have slides first or? Okay, maybe not. Yeah, but we have a little gift for you guys. Adib, I don't think you have this yet. Yeah, some swag. And Ayush, I think you have, but then like there's some new items in there, but we can sort that out with you later.
May I come back and take some merch?
Yeah, who's that? And then Mabel for you. Yeah, so thank you. Do we have the slide, Marissa? And then Daryl, thank you as well. Pity you're not here. Oh, there we go.
This
So
AI residency was wonderful.
thank you, Daryl.
Great
Yes.
opportunity.
So you guys have graduated from the program, the 5 of you. The rest kind of dropped out. So maybe we'll get the residents to come up front. And Daryl, I don't know if you want to show your face or is it too early?
Let me
wanna
do my
show-
hair. Let me do my hair. Let me do my hair. Let me do my hair.
Doing his hair? Yeah, so you guys can stand up front. Marissa, do I take the picture? Okay, we're waiting for Daryl to. Yes. Getting his film camera.
Yo,
Getting some camera.
how do I see if I'm?
Okay, hold on. He was where? The carousel. Yeah, and the rest, if you need to rush off, please don't. Please go ahead. Okay, I see Daryl.
What?
We can see you. Ooh, Adib's got
Oh,
his camera.
wonderful. There's a horrible photo of me.
Ah, jeez. Yeah, just after we've ended. Yeah, and here's a little gift for you. Yeah, a little side kit. So I was just telling the group that when our folks leave Carousell, we consider them have graduated. Like, so this is like your graduation as well. Yeah, like when we resign, we say they're graduating. Yeah. All right, let's grab a photo. Oh, okay. Oh, you want to use yours?
I'm with the CIA now.
Daryl, we're still taking pictures. Can you smile?
Oh, you're still taking pictures?
Put that away. Yeah.
So annoying eh. He's such an annoying person. How are we supposed to post
Yeah.
it?
How? No, there's
Miss-
one without
we
this.
miss you. Why aren't you here, Daryl? How are you living in the US?
It's horrible. I'm breaking out. I'm getting pimples and stuff.
Why? Because you're so stressed or you're eating like all the American food?
I don't know. A lot of the fast food here tastes like plastic. It's delicious, but it's so
Plastic?
it doesn't taste real.
How is Ace? I'm
Ah,
curious. Oh shit. Okay, thank you everyone. Bye bye.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Daryl. We're gonna end the call.
all right. It was